Hello, this is Dr. Darnice, and thank you for joining me once again at Dr. Darnice's Writing Salon. And a happy Mother's Day to those of you who are. And I want to come on and talk about a project that I wrote a number of years ago, and it has to do with grief and mother loss specifically. So on this occasion of Mother's Day, I am revisiting this work, this little book that I wrote. I revisit it periodically as a tool for helping people who I coach, who are working through grief, through mother loss in particular. But it's not something that I revisit a lot because it's still kind of difficult for me in terms of my own grief process. And my mother passed away in 1988, so it's been a long time. But I think we can all agree that it's not something that ever goes away, right? It leaves us with a particular kind of grief that we just live with. We don't really get rid of or get past. And so this particular book, it's called Motherless, Reflections on Grief. And that's the picture of it, the thumbnail for this video. And the little girl that you see on the cover of that is me. And those are my mother's legs. I'm standing in front of my mother. And so it's a great little picture. And so I use that picture as the cover of the book. Well, this channel is about writing, and I have announced to you all that I am recommitting myself to writing, because I tend to let other things kind of take over. I'm also a professor, so there's a lot of responsibilities that I have, a lot of things I have to do, as we all do. And so for me to recommit to writing is really important. I've just come to a point in life where I'm like, this is really what's important to me. And I am going to spend more time, intentional time doing it. So welcome to my writing salon for that reason. And again, because it's Mother's Day, I wanted to make this available to say, even those things that are difficult for us to deal with, it can be cathartic for us to write it, and it can be helpful to somebody else that you've written it. And so even though it can be emotionally difficult for me to revisit this work, I do. And I say revisit, but it's really a PDF document, and it lives on my website primarily. I have not gone the whole route of self-publishing it and like making it available on Amazon, because I haven't made it into a real book, right? I don't want to go back into it and edit. I don't want to, it's just so personal that I can only do it in fits and starts, I feel like. And so I just kind of leave it as a PDF, and I give it out to my clients and to personal friends when I think that it can be helpful. And so if you'd like to get it, I will leave a link in the description box about where you can get it on my website. And not only for people who are dealing with death, moving through grief, but if you are considering writing a memoir, your personal story, then it might be helpful for you in that regard as well. Because what is memoir? Memoir is it's different from a biography in the sense that you're not telling like the whole of your life. It really is like a slice of your life. Memoir is focused on a slice of your life. What was happening during like a coming of age story. So between the years of 13 and 16, or 16 and 20, or your college years, or that kind of thing. And so memoir gets really focused on a particular slice. And so for me, this particular slice is the immediate aftermath of my mother's death, and then the years around it of me trying to cope with that and deal with grief, or not deal with grief as the case was for many years. So it's like a vision or a little snapshot into the larger picture of what my overall life is. And so if you're interested in memoir, again, it might be helpful to you because maybe you want to tell about a particular thing that you've lived through, that you've survived, that you've grown through. Maybe it's really a very particular thing that you want to talk about. And this particular book that I wrote, Motherless, it's short, right? And so sometimes we get too hung up on, oh, I don't know what I would say about it, or I'm not sure it's long enough. Maybe it's more of an essay. And so we can really get caught up on the formatting and the big picture and trying to make something be perfect. As creative people, we often get paralyzed by ideas about making something perfect. And here I'm sharing this with you because it's not perfect. This thing that I wrote, it's not perfect. And but it's the best I could do at the time. And the feedback that I've gotten from people has been good. Other people have found it to be useful. So I think that it's good enough. And sometimes you just have to be free enough to say something is good enough. Something that I wrote, some art that I created is good enough for a particular purpose. Or it's good enough for, to keep your pump primed, to keep the creativity going. It's good enough as a bridge to help you get to the next thing. And so, I'd like to offer that as well. Like sometimes something is good enough and it's okay to just accept that, leave it as it is, write it as it is, start painting, start singing, whatever that is. Because the main thing is that you get your creativity out, right? And so for me, in this particular project around grief, mother loss, death, coping with these things that a lot of times we don't even like to think about. On Mother's Day, people don't like to think about their mother dying. But for those of us whose mothers have already made that transition, we can think of nothing else, right? There are many days in the year, in life, where you can think of nothing else but your mother. But something especially like Mother's Day, or maybe her birthday, or some type of big event that you had, that you shared, you can't help it. And so here's my offering on Mother's Day for those of us whose mothers have transitioned. It's a glimpse into my personal story. It's also, I'm going to read you the table of contents, because I didn't realize when I was writing this, the theme that was taking place through me. So it turns out it's a very spiritual theme that was working through me with very particular religious language. And I didn't really realize it until long after I'd written the table of contents, and I went back and looked at it again, and I said, this is interesting. So the table of contents, the introduction is called Just Taking Stock, My Story. And then we really get into my story in chapter 2, and it's called Death Angel. Chapter 3 is called Stigmata, Feeling the Pain. Chapter 4 is called the 23rd Psalm, Coping Mechanisms. The 5th chapter is called Revelation, Acceptance and Healing. And as I said, I didn't do that on purpose because I wrote it so sporadically. I never sat down at any one point and said, I'm going to write a book or anything. I was journaling initially. I never sat down and did this on purpose. So from time to time when I would go back and add something, I would add another chapter title. So by the time I put that all together and I could look at it with a little bit of distance and a little bit of objectivity, I thought, wow, there was a theme. There was a spirituality that was also present with me in writing this, which I so appreciate. I think of spirituality as being an important part of the creative process. And even to the point where we don't even realize how much it is or how it's operating. It's there. It's present with us. So, again, I guess I'm going to wrap this up, but I just wanted to share a little bit about, one, to give honor to Mother's Day and those people who are mothers and those mothers who have transitioned. 2, to talk about, a little bit about writing memoir. 3, how to move through perfectionism and accept that something may be really just good enough, and that's okay. Let it just be a bridge. Step into doing you. Step into creating the work you want to create and allowing it out into the world. Share it with the world. And then, just to share a little bit about the book and the table of contents there. So again, if you would like to get it, it's on my website, drdarnice.com. And I'll put the exact link in the description box, as I said. It's drdarnice.com. And then when you get there, it's under, I guess, shop. I think that's what it's called, y'all, under that tab. And then you'll find it. So anyway, I just want to say, again, thanks for joining me on this writing journey. And yeah, let's just have some fun and be creative, y'all. So that's it for now. Bye.